Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joey today is your tree expert, forestry expert, everything expert in trees and beyond. Okay, well, there's probably a real title there, but it is Anna Healy, your forestry and tree expert. I'm just going to keep making up it until I get there. I'll find a way. I'll find a way.
You're close.
Anna, first off, congratulations, because not only did you submit for grants and get grants, you got the tree award.
Yeah.
We got the designation for the U.S., for the world, for everywhere.
Yes.
You know, it's just
We're
it's
covered.
incredible stuff. Literally, we're covered because they're
covered.
trees.
Yes,
I see what you're
absolutely.
doing. I love it.
Yes.
So let's start let's work through these. We'll start
Sure.
in the U.S. because it's one of our longer standing achievements. But the USA, Tree City USA, 27th year.
Yes.
That's incredible work.
It is incredible. Yes, it is.
So what does it take to get that, to continue to keep that designation as Tree City USA?
So we need to spend $2 per resident per year, which we easily do on trees, and we easily do that. And you need to have an ordinance, a tree planting ordinance, which we have and we've had since 1999, which basically requires that as we're putting our new developments together, we have to plant trees, and we do a great job of that. And you also have to have a proclamation and Arbor Day celebration, which we have done every year. So we've met those criteria, and we've been able to maintain that status from the Arbor Day Foundation for 27 years, which is tremendous and does speak very highly of the community.
Well, it speaks highly of you and all your work of planting and literally planting trees and
Yes.
keeping the tree plan moving forward. We'll talk about that. Then we, I think this started last year, if I remember right, the Tree City World Recognition,
Yes.
which also incredible designation.
From
and,
UNESCO, yes.
And we've met it again.
Yes, we met it again. Yes, I was really thrilled to get the news that we also were recognized as a Tree City of the World again this year. And for that designation, you have to have everything from the Tree City USA. You also have an updated inventory, which we have, inventory of your trees, which we have, and you have to have a tree preservation ordinance, which we now also have. So, so we meet those criteria as well, which is great.
And I remember when the trees were surveyed last year, that report was incredible to
It
see.
was.
Like, it was the first time that we actually got a real, honest piece of all the tree, and
Yes.
that's incredible work.
It is incredible work, and I'm grateful to have that information. It really helps us plan. It really helps us, also it really helps us know if we're reaching our goals. We do have a 30% canopy goal by 2050, and getting that data back really helps us understand, okay, where are our trees? What is their health? What is their integrity? Where do we need more trees? And most importantly, where might we have some issues we need to address and be proactive? Ash trees are an obvious example. What other neighborhoods do we have trees that are, in older trees, or trees that tend to be less resilient in storms, that sort of thing. So we know kind of where to focus our efforts to be most effective moving forward.
I was talking to the mayor about this on our update. I said, what's your comment about the trees and everything? And she's like, it's incredible to have this. And her and I kind of agreed, like, it's pretty incredible that, and I know this from my discussions with you too, like when you go back and plant trees, the way climate changes happen and the way things,
Yes.
you are finding trees and you're finding this plant life that can survive
Yes.
these new conditions, which is just another element to the overall, trying to keep healthy trees and our canopy, or shade and everything else,
Yes.
together, which I think is really cool work.
Yeah, no, thank you. And every year we try a few different trees. This year we're going to be planting some different buckeye species to see how they do. They're from a little bit farther south, but they've been very resilient in Wisconsin for other municipalities. So we're going to go ahead and plant some of those this Arbor Day. We also have just been taking note of kind of some of our experimental trees. How are they doing? Are they serving us? Are they not? And the ones that are working well, London plane trees an example, tulip trees another example, we're planting even more of them. So it's been an exciting kind of learning experience. What's doing well? What's not doing well? What works for us? What doesn't, and kind of expanding on what works, backing off from what doesn't, and just keep moving forward.
I.e., what a plan really can do for you when you know what your inventory is, you know what you're trying, you know what's not working, and you can rely on that as a roadmap to kind of making it successful and keeping us going on these big designations.
Absolutely.
And this leads to the grant component now. You applied for a grant in our H&I neighborhoods. That's our Healthy Neighborhood Initiative to bring in some trees, some healthy trees and stuff, and really work on the canopy. One area that I think started on this one was in the Southdale neighborhood.
Yes.
Was annexed a couple years ago.
Yes.
And you, again, just like anything, what's the inventory, what's there, and what can we do to develop this? So tell us about this grant.
Yeah, so excellent. So thank you for being interested. It's an excellent question. So basically in Southdale, we did an inventory. The first thing we did when we got the Southdale neighborhood was we did an inventory. There were a lot of dead and dying ash trees. We got those down. We got the stumps ground. We replaced what we could with our current budget. And really, that neighborhood needs a complete canopy renovation. We really needed to go in there, take a look, what is there, what's working, what's not, what needs to be removed, what can be replaced, and we needed to capture additional planting spaces that probably never had been planted. And that's a pretty big effort, and it was really beyond what we could do with our current resources. So we did write a grant, and we did pull in some partners, Urban Tree Alliance being the main partner on that, and we were able to secure funding to do a complete canopy renovation in that neighborhood, and that'll be taking place this April. So we'll be, we've already gotten the dead ash trees down, and there were quite a few declining trees that were hanging on but not doing very well. So we took them down, we ground the stumps, and we're going to replace all of those, and we're adding a whole variety of different trees in that neighborhood. Unfortunately, well, it's just how it goes, but the power distribution lines run such that it's a little bit tricky to plant trees, but we kind of know what we can do in those neighborhoods. We're doing a lot of different kinds of trees that aren't going to encroach on that right away and won't encroach on that that infrastructure. So the nice thing is there's not as much buried infrastructure, so we have a little bit more wiggle room that way, and we'll be planting trees mostly in the residential area. We'll also be adding some trees on Badger Road and in the areas closer to the Beltline as well.
And why is the canopy piece so important to no matter what part of the city you're in, to have that and to keep up this tree plan and to keep doing the work that you're doing? I think I know the answer to this, but
yeah.
I'd love to hear from you.
So basically, tree canopy gives us a lot of ecosystem services that we don't get otherwise. I mean, not just the beauty, not just the aesthetics of it, but also shade. I mean, there's a lot of people who walk to buses and stand and wait for a bus, and it's so much more comfortable and so much more enjoyable if you can stand in the shade of a tree instead of standing in the blazing sun. The other thing that we really get from our trees that's becoming more and more important is stormwater mitigation. As those tree canopies grow, they can collect and hold stormwater, some of them hundreds and hundreds of gallons, and they hang on to it so it doesn't all fall at once. It kind of, comes down the trunk, comes off the leaves in a much slower fashion, and is able to, kind of mitigate some of our stormwater spikes. And also, habitat for animals. We have an awful lot of birds, butterflies, other insects that can then mitigate some of the mosquitoes, some of the ticks, some of the other not so great insects and other pests that we have. So it's kind of the overall quality of life really improves when we have, the more trees we have, the better it is.
This is the time of year for you because
yes, it is.
Springtime, just in general, you're going to have your spring tree planting. I heard
Yes.
200 plus trees this
252.
spring. That's incredible work, right?
That's just in the terraces.
That's
Just in
incredible
terraces.
work.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll be chasing you down on that.
Yes.
But Arbor Day. So you might be asking yourself, well, how can I get involved? Arbor Day is the time of year to get involved, and you have some events coming up
Yes.
where you can help out on planting some trees. So let's
Absolutely.
walk through those two events coming up here on Saturday, April 26th, from 10 a.m. to noon at Hugo Jamestown Park. Is
Yes,
the first one.
it is. Yes, so that is a canopy renovation of Hugo Jamestown Park. We had a new shelter built in Hugo Jamestown. It's been a while, 6 or 7 years. We planted some trees at that time, which was awesome. But that park has changed a lot. We have taken down a tremendous amount of ash trees in that park. We've kind of picked away at replacing them and planting more trees, but it really was in need of a canopy renovation. So that's what we're doing on Saturday, April 26th from 10 to noon. We've got, I think it's 27 trees we'll be planting. If we don't get them all done, it's not a big deal. We'll plant the rest the next week. So we welcome volunteers to come and give a hand. We'll be planting a whole variety of different trees in that park to diversify the canopy and make sure that we're going to meet our 30% canopy goal by 2050 with this tree planting.
And then you also have a tree planting same day from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the Sunnyside Dog Park on
Yes.
Irish Lane.
Yes. So Sunnyside is an interesting park because that used to be a tree nursery in years past. And so, and basically what happened was most of the desirable trees were dug and sold. And there's a lot of trees in there that they're okay, but they're not really canopy trees. And one of the examples of that was curly willow. And it was a tree that was planted, probably 30 or 40 years ago. And it's in the nursery trade, it's harvested for its twigs, and the twigs are used in flower arranging and that sort of thing. So there are rows of curly willow trees, but they really weren't ever meant to be a canopy tree, and they don't have a very long life. So they've been kind of falling over, and dying ever since we kind of made that into a park. So we finally last winter were able to take some of those out, and we're going to replace them with actual canopy trees this spring, which is great. And then we're going to start adding a few shrubs in there too, just to kind of add a more, I don't want to say a privacy feel, but just a little bit more of a woodsy feel in there. And it's going to be a little bit of a more gradual situation because we do have a Million Trees grant from the Alliant Energy to pay for this, but that's not as big of a grant as we've gotten for other things.
Sure.
So it won't be quite the whole canopy renovation that we'd like to do there, but it will really make a dent. And so we really appreciate people coming out and planting trees with us on that Saturday.
Well, and those trees got to survive those dogs too, right?
Yeah,
do you have like a special attention to that because it is a
Yes.
dog park?
Yes,
and
yes. Yeah, no.
We're not getting into the details about the trees, but
Yeah, no, excellent point. And so then there's talk, do we put up protectors, do we not? And so I'm a little cautious about what we put in there. We kind of experiment, see what works, and then kind of go from there.
that's why I like you, because you're
Oh.
like, well, we're gonna try. We're just gonna try. We'll try. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll conquer. But
Exactly.
you seem to conquer more than anything.
Oh,
like
I
love
try.
the trial stuff, and the terrace stuff. My favorite one is still Post Road.
Awesome.
We
That
tried
was
that
great.
one. Like that one, just
And
if you
it-
haven't been down there, like talk
That
about
was a success.
Right. Like that. I remember when you were sitting here telling us
Yes,
about this
yes.
project, and I remember being out there filming and like so excited because
Yes.
it just gave way to just some great things. So you get to go around the city and you can see all the tree work, you can see what's going on, but stepping in, helping out, and seeing what Anna's doing here, it's impressive stuff. You're doing a good job.
I am. And can I just mention one more award we got that I think I forgot?
There's
to tell you?
another award.
We got a growth
Anna.
award. We got a growth award. From
Oh,
the-
I left that out. I skipped right over that.
Yeah, you
Yes.
did. So we got a growth award,
you did.
and that is from we got a growth award from the Arbor Day Foundation in part for our volunteers, which was awesome. We have a great group of volunteers that help us with tree planting, among other things, which is great. And then also for our work on securing outside funds. So we got a growth award, which was awesome. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
I skipped right over that.
Yeah, so it's
It
easy
was
to
kind of
forget.
in there. It's mixed in.
It was sort of implied. It was implied.
All right. Well, if you want to get involved, you have questions about what's going on, or just curious, how can people get a hold of you just to answer any general questions?
Feel free to give me a call. Feel free to send me an email. I'm happy to chat, happy to talk to folks. And if you want to get involved, we're happy to have you.
All right, Anna. Thank you so much. Congratulations again. And thank you for all the great work you're doing. We appreciate it.
Of course. Yeah. Thanks for having me.